Okay, so are you ready to dive into something juicy today? Because this deep dive is going to take us into some seriously murky waters. We're talking about P. Diddy, Sean Combs, and let's just say he's got a legal battle on his hands that's making waves, big waves.
Yeah, this isn't just your average celebrity scandal with a slap on the wrist and everybody forgets about it. This one,
Yeah.
this one cuts deep,
He's big.
Makes you think about power, who has it, what they do with it, and what happens when it all goes wrong.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. We're basing this deep dive on an article that just dropped on October 12th in La Repubblica,
Yeah.
and it lays out some pretty heavy stuff, like really heavy accusations against Combs. Conspiracy, sex trafficking, sexual assault, even prostitution, they're throwing the book at him.
Right, and we got to be careful here, right? I mean, right now, it's all just accusations. Combs hasn't had his day in court yet, innocent until proven guilty, as they say. His lawyers are fighting this tooth and nail. So, for this deep dive, we're sticking to what's in that La Repubblica article. No speculating, no gossip, just the facts as we know them.
Exactly. Got to stay objective. That's our whole thing here. But okay, even just looking at the article, it's intense. They talk about this alleged tape freak off, they're calling it, and supposedly it shows Combs and maybe some other big names doing some, well, let's just say questionable things.
Yeah, that tape, that's a whole other can of worms right there.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't seen it. Nobody's confirmed if it's real. And the article, they got it from just one source, Jaguar Wright. They mention her.
And so far, nobody else who's supposedly on this freak off tape, they haven't said a peep, confirming, denying, nothing.
Exactly. It's radio silence from that whole crew.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting, okay? The article, it talks about Combs' money situation, or maybe I should say lack of money. Seems like he's been hurting financially, which, and I'm just, connecting the dots here. Maybe that's why he might have gotten involved in some shady stuff that could land him in hot water, legally speaking, and ethically too.
Okay, let's break that down for a sec. I mean, think about it. We're talking about P. Diddy. The guy's a legend, right? Music, business, he's got the Midas touch, or so we thought. So what happens when all that starts to crumble?
It's an old story, right?
Right.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And with Combs, if what they're saying is true, it's like maybe he started using his money, his fame, to take advantage of people. And then maybe he tried to bury it all, keep it quiet, so he could hold on to his image, his empire.
And here's the kicker, all right? Get a load of this guest list. The article mentions all these parties that comes through, and these weren't your average backyard barbecues, all right? We're talking A-list, all the way. Leonardo DiCaprio, Bieber, Beyonce, even Donald Trump was there, apparently. I mean, the list goes on, like, seriously.
Talk about an exclusive crowd, right? It shows you the kind of power this guy had, the kind of people he had in his back pocket. But then you got to ask, what did those people see at those parties? What did they know? Could any of them get caught up in this whole legal mess?
Now, we're not saying anybody's guilty just because they were there. That's not how it works. But come on, you got to admit, all those big names, it makes you wonder, right? It just adds another layer to this whole crazy story. And it's not just the guest list, right? I mean, there's more to this whole thing than just who was at these parties.
Yeah, you're totally right. There's a lot more to unpack here. Like the article, it gets into the whole conspiracy thing, what it actually means legally, because that's a big part of the charges against Combs.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Conspiracy. I think people hear that word and they automatically think like shadowy figures in a dark room making secret plans. But legally, it's a whole different ballgame, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
In court, conspiracy, it's serious business.
Hmm.
To prove it, the prosecution, they got to show that there was an actual agreement, like two or more people saying, okay, we're going to do this illegal thing. But it's not enough just to talk about it.
So they have to actually do something about it, like take steps to make that illegal thing happen.
Exactly. And it's those steps, those actions, that the prosecution, they're going to zero in on during the trial. That's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak.
Which, speaking of the trial, that's another big reveal in this La Repubblica article. They actually have a date for when this whole thing is going down. May 5th, 2025. Mark your calendars, folks, because that's when the fireworks start in New York.
Yeah, and don't expect it to be over in a day or two. The article, it says they're thinking this trial could last, get this, at least a month, maybe even longer.
A month or more. Whoa. That tells you something right there, right? This is serious stuff.
No doubt about it. And you know what else? There's another piece to this that could make the trial even longer.
Okay, you got me on the edge of my seat. What is it?
So the prosecution, they've been kind of hinting that they might, and this is where it gets really interesting, they might bring even more charges against Combs.
Wait, really? So they might add even more to this whole thing. What do you make of that?
Well, to me, it sounds like the prosecution, They think they got a slam dunk case here, They're willing to pour a ton of time and energy into this, even if it means piling on even more charges, which, let's face it, this thing is already a legal labyrinth.
Yeah, it's a bold move, that's for sure. But I guess when you're dealing with someone like Combs, I mean, his level of fame and then the seriousness of these allegations, they got to go big or go home.
Right. They're not messing around here. This could be a sign to Combs and his lawyers that they're ready to go all the way, consequences be damned, even if it takes years.
So we're looking at a trial date, the possibility of even more charges coming down the pipeline, and this whole thing is like a tangled web, right?
Yeah.
Combs and all these huge names in Hollywood. It really makes you wonder what's going to happen.
That's the big question, isn't it? The million-dollar question. This trial, it could shake things up, not just in the music world, but everywhere. And it might even get people talking about, like, power, and who has it and what they do with it, not just in Hollywood, but everywhere.
Exactly. Like you were saying before, this is way bigger than just some celebrity gossip rag. These accusations, they cut deep. And honestly, I got to ask, like, what did all these people see at those parties? You think any of them are going to end up on the stand having to testify?
Oh, man, it's definitely possible, right? And if they do, what are they going to say? Are they going to spill the tea, even if it means, hurting Combs' case or making him look bad? Or are they going to keep quiet, protect themselves and their little circle? We'll have to wait and see, I guess. The trial, it could bring all that out in the open.
It's huge,
Yeah.
The stakes are so high, not just for Combs, but for everyone involved. It
Yeah,
makes you really think about the weight of these accusations and how much is riding on this whole thing.
absolutely. And it's not just about the legal stuff, right? Combs, he's built a whole empire, a whole image. The music mogul, the successful businessman, the icon. How's this trial going to change the way people see him?
It's hard to say, right? But one thing's for sure, this story's far from over. There's so much more to it than meets the eye, and it really gets you thinking about fame, fortune, and what happens when people abuse that power.
Yeah, we've only just scratched the surface here, really. There's a lot more to uncover, for sure.
And we'll be here to dive into it all every step of the way. But for now, we got to wrap it up. But hey, if you want to go deeper, we got you covered. We'll link to that La Repubblica article in the show notes. Go check it out and let us know what you think, what stands out to you, what questions do you have. Hit us up on social media. Let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, thanks for taking the deep dive with us.